Today I fucked up by saying her BJs aren't that good. Obligatory. This happened many moons ago and I'm using a throwaway account. We were away from home staying with a friend couple. We've all been out on the town with them for the evening, and had returned their apartment for a little after party, wind down before bedtime. We were outside on their porch drinking and smoking and making a lighthearted jokes about what happens after marriage. We were all planning to get married fairly soon. The guys are lamenting the "no more BJs after marriage" trope. The ladies are playing along, lamenting the inevitable loss of romance and chivalry. My lady says something along the lines of she can't give me too many BJs, or I won't want the real thing, wink wink. Playful like, suggesting maybe I'll get the real thing later. Here's the foo. In my incredibly drunken and slightly embarrassed state I blurted out, "Your BJs aren't that good." Immediate recognition of what nastiness just leapt from my face. I tried to stutter out an explanation, something along the lines of "your sex is so much better. A BJ could never compete," trying desperately to find the keys to my backhoe of stupidly, but the damage was done and there was no saving this dumpster fire. My lady, obviously hurt, took her friend and went inside the apartment. My buddy just looked at me with his jaw open. We stood there in silence for a few minutes carefully retracing the idiocy that just occurred. He eventually says, "Welp, that one's gonna sting for a while." When we eventually retire inside, party is over, and I receive nothing but cold shoulder until the morning. Too long did not read. In trying to say oral can't compete with her sex game, I wound up saying her BJs weren't that good. She still married me, but it's been over 10 years since the foo, and I haven't received a BJ since. Edit. Dang, that's a lot of upvotes. All the comments saying to keep trying to work it out struck home. I'll bring it up after the kids go to bed. Maybe she'll want to read your comments? Who knows? Might have to publish another Today I Fucked Up for listening to Reddit relationship advice. My personal favorite comment so far is from you, no good _boyo. Seems the rest agree considering it's most upvoted. My buddy just looked at me with his jaw open. Missed opportunity. Wait till she brings it up on a random Tuesday when you're both retired and spending time with the grandkids. That kinda thing won't sting for a while, it will always sting. Dude, I basically made the same mistake as you, 10 years later. And I really regret that one. Haven't had one since? Bro, you've had so much time to talk that moment through and assure her that you love her BJs. Guess you didn't get any more after that. But that's fine, they weren't that good anyway. Today I fucked up by making vulgar comment to my boss while he was in meeting. This happened yesterday. I work in a fine dining kitchen, and I have been here for 6 months now. My executive chef, we will call him Andy, and I had worked together for 5 years at our old place of employment, so we are pretty close as far as coworkers go. Yesterday was a big day for me, because Andy asked me to come up with the next weekly feature. I had written down the ingredients I needed ordered, shared the recipe with him, he even knew how much product I needed. But when the truck shows up, none of my stuff is sent for delivery, and they say it will be next week before they can bring the right stuff. So I didn't have my product, and I was livid. Andy is upstairs meeting with an older man, found out he is our food representative later. They were sitting at a table talking about new products. I politely interrupt to tell Andy the situation. He replies, "Sounds good, just write down what you need so I don't forget to order it." Without thinking about any of it, I responded, "I'll get it tattooed on my dick and you can check it out whenever you want." Both of them are speechless. It takes a moment to process what I just said. Then, as if it will fix what just happened, I say, "What? At least then you can't lose it then." Then I shamefully walked away. Andy hasn't said anything to me yet, but oh my god, I'm mortified. Too long did not read. My executive chef didn't order my ingredients, so I told him I'd tattoo my order on my dick so he could check it out any time. My god, and then you doubled down, skull and crossbones. I told him I'd tattoo my order on my dick so he could check it out any time. GIF. Giphy, Tim 8 BGHA1 Malib 41 TMAs. I am assuming that it must be a pretty small list then. That is. Such a weird thing to say. Like just in general. Working in food service is just different. Once in a meeting we were discussing how we would reward employees for metrics. While talking about the budget I said, well obviously we don't want to blow our load on just one employee. We quickly moved on. Today I fucked up by hooking up with the person who conducted my job interview. Technically this all happened a few days ago, but I think it's still worth telling here. I scored a job interview that was scheduled for this past Monday at a place that I was pretty excited to be working at. I was super prepared, very qualified for the job, and I've been told I'm a good interviewee. So I was looking forward to the day. Well, that Friday before, I went out for some drinks with some friends. We went to a bar and came across a group of guys who were also enjoying some drinks. Our two parties became one party and there was quite a bit of intermingling going on. One guy in particular I was very fond of and he seemed pretty fond of me. He was little bit older than me but not too much older that me or any of my friends thought it would be weird. So we flirted the whole night and eventually as things were wrapping up at the bar he invited me back to his place. I figured what the heck, I didn't have any plans for Saturday morning or anything. We went back to his place and did what two drunk flirts do when they're alone together. And not to get too descriptive or anything, but what we were doing was hot and heavy. We both just let the booze take over and got weird and wild with it. And not too long after we were done we did it all over again. After that we were exhausted and passed out on the bed together. In the morning we both woke up and decided that the best thing to do was recapture the glory days one last time before parting ways. We knew we weren't exactly going to be any kind of item moving forward, so we were fine not seeing each other again after that. But 3 times in like 12 hours is an all-time record for me, so I thanked him for the experience. I then happily got on with my life and showed up for this interview on Monday ready to conquer the world. I found out I would be interviewed by 3 people. One very nice old lady. One middle-aged guy who tried to be tough but wasn't very good at it. And of course Mr. One Night Stand himself. As soon as we saw each other we both knew this wasn't going to be good. The interview, I feel anyway, went horribly. I couldn't think about anything other than the fact that someone in the room had seen me naked before. I stuttered. I had to ask them to repeat questions. I completely lost my train of thought halfway through an answer. And making eye contact with him? Forget about it. He was awkward about it too. He fumbled words and was sweating through his clothes a little bit. I could tell he was trying to just put it aside and treat me as if I was any other person interviewing for a job. I imagine it's kind of hard to see anyone as a potential subordinate when you've pulled their hair and spanked them already. So yeah, not sure if I'll be getting the job offer or not. Probably not. Even if I did, I don't know if I would be able to accept it. Would just lead to more awkwardness, I'm sure. Sucks because I really wanted this job. Sad face. Too long did not read. Had a one-night stand with a guy only to then discover he would be interviewing me for a job a few days later, and would be my boss if I were hired. Remember if you're nervous, just imagine the audience naked. Ooh wait. That sucks. But if it were a smutty book I would definitely read it. You should have looked him straight in the eye, to establish dominance. Both in bed and during the interview. Bosses like that. One-night stand guy should have recused himself from the interview. TBH, I hope gets the job lol. I don't understand. I would have felt so confident. What's he going to say? He was pleased and satisfied multiple times. Today I fucked up by agreeing to getting bent over. So I have always wanted a threesome with 2 girls. My now wife told me before we got married the possibility was low but not impossible. Whatever, it's not a high priority. Well, we started talking about it and we decided it might be fun to try. But then my wife says, well, if you get to be with another girl, isn't it fair that I get to be with another guy? I paused. Yeah, if you want that then I am cool. Months go by, rarely talked about it, planned. We finally one day decide, damn it, let's do it. Now I want her to do things with the female, it is only right I do things with the male. We did have our boundaries and not this list. So now that we have clear do's and don'ts we start looking to find people to fulfill the roles. I also started using butt plugs cause she wanted to watch me get bent over. While it was not the most pleasurable, it was something for her, so I did it. We had it set up, everything ready to go, and things are in motion. We planned to do guy 1 week then the girl the next week. 4 hours before takeoff, the guy cancels due to a family emergency. Ah shit, oh well. So we end up going to the girl one and damn was it amazing. As we are wrapping up we ask if she may be down for another on in the near future. She says yes. We say great, but we are going to have a male one first. She then tells us she knows a bi guy who's great. We get into contact and have plans to meet up the next night. And #X200B. Once we get there and start getting seen I realized my mistake. I had been practicing with a 5-inch dildo that was skinny. This dude looked like he had a fucking tree branch. I genuinely thought it was a strap-on or a prosthetic. I am pretty sure that thing has a chance on getting on some amusement park rides. Shit, there is no turning back now, and my wife already completed every damn fantasy that I asked for with a girl. When the time came, it took a very, very long time for me to get half of it in. I have never experienced pain like that in my life. So deep, so intense. Eventually, my wife said, "Let's move on, it's okay, you did your best." We continued, and once we finished up I knew she was upset. We got into a small argument and I said, "Look, I tried my best, okay? How the fuck was I supposed to go from a twig to a damn tree trunk? I truly don't know how that girl ever took that thing." She responded with, "What's that supposed to mean? This is where I should have laid down my metaphorical shovel." That girl said that she's been with him, but IDK how the hell she took that thing as small as she is. I meant this as in she was 5'4" and my wife is 5'9". Of course my wife just assumed that I was calling her a cow and that the other girl was just infinitely better looking. This of course set off a nuclear bomb and pretty much ended that conversation. Night. And #X200B. I did end up having some blood later on. And #X200B. And #X200B. Too long, did not read. I agreed to getting bent over by a guy. He was very naturally gifted and I couldn't do it. Got into a small argument and made it seem like I was calling the other girl skinny and my wife big, fat. IDK what the fuck I just read. After now reading op snippy comebacks below, pretty sure this story is creative fiction. I don't even know where to start unpacking this clusterfuck. Y'all have a very unique interpretation of give and take in a relationship, I think. Holy shit, my guy. I'm still confused how. I can't believe that tiny woman can take that whole big fat cock. Gets translated to, "Honey, you're a fuck huge cow who's a lot less attractive than that other woman. You're either telling this story very badly or your wife has zero self-esteem."